Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Kensington Cross Stitch. I am Deborah. Today is Tuesday, October 15, and I have to say the weather outside is beautiful. It is full fall, the leaves are falling, everybody has every mum that they can possibly put in front of their house, outside of their house. Pumpkins are going on. It is fall weather and I love it. So this is definitely one of the best things about living in New England. And I have just been enjoying that wonderful time of year. But of course, I've also been doing some stitching, doing a couple of other things. So I am looking forward to sharing that with you in this episode. And I do have to say, I am also excited because this weekend is the Stitch New England retreat up in Rhode Island. And I am so looking forward to it, being with friends, getting to help out with the smalls exchange, go to the shopping, sitting and stitching and spending a whole weekend just enjoying this hobby. So I am so excited and I will definitely be telling you about that when I get back from the retreat in a couple of weeks when I film my next episode. So I am excited. But for today, we've got some stitching updates. I also have some book talk for you and then Legos. And as usual, if those last couple of things are not your thing, feel free to just jet out when the stitching ends. But I just love to share all kinds of different hobbies with you. And I love getting to hear about it in the comments from everybody. So with that, I think I will get started. The first thing that I have to show you today is a fully finished object. So this is a piece that I finished very recently and I have now fully finished it. So this is the piece All Sorts by Emma Congdon or Stitchrovia. And it is a much larger piece. So it's actually kind of a rectangular piece and it has a lot more of the All Sorts candies. And I've talked in a previous video, I decided to just do essentially the center motif of candies, which were close to circular in there, and then I was able to fully finish it just the other day. And what I did is it's just an upright piece. Let's see if you can see that. Yes, so you can see the outline. This used to be a Halloween piece that I picked up in Michael's, and I really like it because it's mostly circular, but it does have that cut off on the bottom, and I thought that that shape was essentially perfect for this pattern because it does also kind of have that flat bottom there as well. And so I was looking at it in my little stack of things that I could use for finishing, and I thought, I bet that that's going to be perfect. So all I did was I just took some chalkboard paint and I essentially just gave it, I think, 2 coats. As you can see, I wasn't trying to get full coverage on it. It really was just to make it so it was black to go with the pattern. I didn't bother kind of chipping off any of that other stuff. I just turned it around and affixed my piece to the back of it. And then I found this really cute fabric that has all kinds of candies on it. You can see All Sorts just kind of peeking out there in the corner. But I thought that that was a really cute piece of fabric to go with it. And you'll notice that there is a little, oh, we're getting a lot of glare. Let's see how we go. There we go. You can see that there is a fair amount of spacing here. I tend to not be somebody who puts a lot of rickrack or trim around it. But in this case, having done it, I wish that I had done it because with this being a circular finish rather than a square finish, it doesn't quite squish down as much as a square finish. So a little bit of extra space, but I was like, also, it's going to sit on a shelf and you'll barely see it. So honestly, I'm not really worried about it, but in hindsight, I would have done it, but it's perfectly fine as it is, and I really love the colors. I think it just pops. I think the shape is just perfect for it, and I'm looking forward to having that up. You know, this is one of those pieces that could definitely be an anytime piece. I will probably put it up with my summer pieces most of the time, just because of that pop of color, but great one to have in the collection. So that is All Sorts by Stitchrovia. And then I'd had big plans to do other fully finishing that didn't happen. It went the way of the, dodo, but oh well. I do have some whips and other stitching to show you. So the first one to show you is an update on my Early Americans piece. So this is a series by Little House Needleworks. I can show you the first one here. I am actually stitching them slightly out of order, so this is not the first piece in the series. This is number 7. But I will be stitching the whole series, and I rearranged them a little bit because I'm going to be stitching them in one full piece, and I just thought they would go together just a little bit better in that way. So those of you who've been with me for a little while will know that I have been stitching on this very slowly for a couple of months, in part because we are stitching this for the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, which is coming up on July 4, 2026. So there is some time to get this project done, and I had mapped out a very leisurely schedule for myself in order to get this done. So this works really well for me. I just kind of figure out how much I want to get stitched in a certain amount of time. And then once I'm done, I stop. And then I let it go for the next month, because that way I don't overstitch on it. I find that otherwise I tend to just keep going and going, and then I overstitch and I don't pick something up. So I set really easy goals for myself for projects like this. And so the first 3 months were just doing all of those boxes. And I did finish the last set of those since we were together last. And then the piece that I have finished most recently is I started in on my first fill-in of the block, and this is the Abigail Adams block. And what I did with this one is my schedule is I'm going to take 2 months for every block to get them stitched, and I will be stitching essentially the names, all of the outline of whatever building is there, and then anything else that's in the block will be what I am stitching the first month. And then the second month I will basically just be doing all of the fill-in. So still a lot of stitching, but it will be a little bit easier in terms of the fact that I won't have to be looking at the pattern. It will just be straight finishing, so just a different type of stitching on the menu that month. So with that, next time you see it, hopefully this will be a finished block, but that will be my November assignment. And if you are interested in participating, there is a SAL. It is the 250th Independence SAL. I'll have this information in the box below, and you are welcome to stitch the Early American series along with us, or any pattern that has to do with 1776 if you'd like to pick up a different one. And you don't have to be stitching it the whole time. You don't have to be doing it kind of at the pace that I am or others are doing. So definitely, if you're interested in helping us commemorate that anniversary that's coming up kind of any time over the next 21 months or however long it is, you're welcome to join us on that SAL. And oh, the other thing I did is I finally pulled all of the rest of my colors. The first couple of months, because all I was doing was the boxes, as I just had my blue and red pulled. But I went through my stash and I pulled colors for the rest of it. So it's a really great mix of Roxy Floss Co., Classic Colorworks, Color and Cotton, Tom and Lily, a great selection of things from my stash. So looking forward to using those as well. The next whip that I have is one you haven't seen in a little while, but will appeal to the fellow geeks in the audience. And this is my Captain's Piece by Happy Sloth. The last time I had mentioned this, somebody asked about the pattern. At the time, it was not available on the Happy Sloth Etsy website, but it was available on their website proper. So I will double check that and include that in the information box as well. But really fun pattern. And then what I'm going to be doing is stitching the 5 original captains. So I decided that rather than stitching Michael or any of the newer captains who have come out since this pattern was first released, I'm just going to stitch the original 5 captains, kind of classic Trek. And rather than stitching them all in one piece, I'm going to be stitching them individually and then framing them in little kind of individual frames, almost like a family portrait series. So I think that'll be fun. And what you had seen before is I had completed Captain Cisco. And then what I have now done is I've also completed Captain Kirk. So as you can see, I'm just kind of using scrap pieces of fabric. This is a mystery 32 count linen. There is enough. I'll be stitching one of the other captains on it and then finishing them separately. And then I do have a couple of extra just other scraps of fabric. I think there's kind of a purpley tinged one, another one that I think is maybe more just, yeah, kind of a neutral color. So mixing those up a little bit. And so I've got at this point Captain Picard, Captain Archer, and Captain Janeway to go. And yeah, it was fun to pull that one out. I was thinking recently I might have to start a Star Trek rewatch sometime soon. So we'll see how that goes. So that was the captains. And then the last piece of stitching that I have to show you is a start and a finish. So it's something that you did not see previously. It was on my like very long list of things to do, and I just got in the mood and I did it. So that one is The Sewing Bee by Erica Michaels. And I wound up doing the piece that will turn into the strawberry. So I can show you my finished piece. There we go. This was the first time I have stitched a piece that will become a strawberry, so I enjoyed it. This is a piece that I actually stitched all in one day, and I liked it. It was fun, and then I'm looking forward to actually trying the strawberry finish for the first time, so that'll be fun. You may have noticed that I have Linda Stoltz's initials, who is the designer for Erica Michaels, and it wasn't until I saw it from a different angle that I was like, oh, those are actually initials. Like when I was stitching it, I was just like, it's just a really weird squiggle. Okay, that's fine. And it wasn't until later that I realized it was initials, and I was like, well, oh well, and I'm done. So I have somebody else's initials on there, but whatever. It'll be on the back of the piece. I thought it was funny, and you know, hey, get to honor somebody else, the designer in that piece. So this was a really quick, fun stitch. I like those colors a lot. And I did use all of the called for colors, which was a couple of DMC, and then I think some Weeks Dye Works. Yep, a bunch of different colors. Definitely plenty left. And I am actually going to do a giveaway on this pattern, because this was a piece that I won in a giveaway the first year that I went to Stitch Maine. Missy and Kathy from Two Needles Pulling Thread were generous enough to donate something for the drawing that year, and I won it, and it was really exciting. So I have always intended to pass the stash on this one now that I have finished it, because I think this is just a great pattern that we can all enjoy. So I will pass along both the pattern, which includes the finishing instructions, and I will pass along all of the floss as well. So if you would be interested in winning that piece, you can just use the number 1 in the comment box below. So there are 2 requirements for giveaways. One, I have something called the Pen Pals form, which is linked down below, and I will ask for your name, email address, mailing address, those couple of basic pieces of information. That way, when I go to do the giveaway drawing, I already have your information and I can get something sent out fairly quickly to somebody. So one, if you want to enter, please have your information in the Pen Pals form below. If you've already filled it out in the past from a previous giveaway, you don't have to do that again. But I will need that information in order to do the giveaway. No one else has access to that information, and I won't be sharing it with anybody else besides myself. And then if you want to, like I said, just put the numeral 1 in your comment. And I am willing to ship worldwide. So I hope that I'm looking forward to see who gets to enjoy this piece after me. So that was The Sewing Bee by Erica Michaels and the giveaway for today. All right. And then the next thing that I have that is stitching related is just a little bit of haul. So I had mentioned quite some time ago that I was planning to do a piece by Good Morning Maui, and this is the Stretching Portraits by Good Morning Maui from the Haunted Mansion, and this is one of my favorite rides at Disneyland. It's one that I always make sure I try and get to ride on, and I had found this pattern and I thought it was super cute, and I had plans for what I was going to do for finishing, and it was very elaborate, and then I just didn't do the stitching, and I didn't do the stitching, in part because I would have had to stitch like a test piece, and I think I was just like, well, that's no fun. Necessary, but not necessarily interesting. But also over time, I just kept thinking, I was like, it is a very cute pattern, but it's maybe a little bit too cute for a lot of my style and whatnot. And so I was like, I kept thinking about it. And then in the meantime, I saw a different series of the Haunted Mansion also on Etsy, and this is by Tiki and Stitch. Do you want to focus? There we go. And so it is just it's obviously the same subject matter, but a very different style, much more stylized. And I saw this one and I really loved it. And then I was realizing that they didn't have all of the patterns released yet. They were kind of over time, they gradually came out, and very recently they have released the final portrait. So all 4 of them are now released. They're only a couple of dollars a piece, so a great deal. And so I wound up purchasing all 4 of them. So I got the woman, got the 3 gentlemen, and then we've got our guy on the thing of dynamite. And then we also have our woman sitting on the gravestone. So those are all released at this point. I've purchased them, and then I am planning to stitch all of those up. At this point, it's probably too late in the year to get, obviously too late to get them done for Halloween this year, but something that I will enjoy stitching in the future. So I think I will do those rather than the Good Morning Maui piece. And then what I also bought was something I came across at Michael's the other day, and this is part of their Halloween collection. I actually saw, I think that Kathy Barrick maybe used these for a finish in one of her recent releases. So definitely out there. Definitely, I am not the first person to think of this as a finishing idea. But on the front, the proper thing that you should be seeing is we've got a gravestone for Vlad, the Impaler, Dracula. I also bought several that are Ichabod Crane. They had a couple of others that were slightly different designs, but this is the only one that had something kind of interesting at the top on the back. The others were very plain. So what I'm planning to do is just turn them around, and my stitching will fit here in this center section. And then what I think I will do is find either some fabric or some maybe scrapbook paper that looks like the wallpaper that is hanging behind the portraits in the Haunted Mansion, just to fill up this space, because the rectangle isn't quite the same dimensions, but I think that'll be fine. I bought 4 of these, and so super easy finish. Definitely something that I could just have out on display in future Halloweens once I finish stitching. So I thought that was a great thing to come across. I did debate briefly, these are full coverage pieces, and so I did debate if I wanted to find a background fabric that I could potentially leave out some of the sky. Looking at them, I think that there's enough of the picture that I may still want to stitch that it may not save me that much time, but I will definitely take a look at my fabric, see if that's something that I can do so that I don't have to cover every single stitch on these patterns. But even if not, I think that they're like 1 3/4 inches by 3.5 inches or something. They're not huge patterns. But I thought that those were a really fun thing, and those are by Tiki and Stitch on Etsy. And I will be keeping them, as I had planned for my other one, in my amazing bag by Tracy OG Stitchery, which is kind of a Frankenstein bag. All of those different fabrics sewn together. So, fantastic bag. And then while I was there, from the same shop, I also bought one more pattern, and that is the Jungle Cruise pattern. And as you can see, this is the backside of water, which is, if you're familiar with the Jungle Cruise, is one of the jokes in it is the backside of water. So I picked that one up since I was in the shop anyway. So that was my little bit of haul for the last few weeks. And that is actually the end of my stitching for the video, just a quick 20 minutes. What I have left to talk about is some Legos and some book talk. So I think I will do the Legos next, and I will start with something very much on theme, which is I put together a mini Haunted Mansion. So this is, I think the set is called Mini Haunted Mansion, and this is from Disney, and this is the Disneyland version of the Haunted Mansion. And you can also, there's all kinds of details inside, but you can actually see the ghosts that you see when you're going by the conveyor belt, and there's some portraits on the inside, all kinds of details throughout the facility. And I really like the minifig because he actually has a coat and tails, and you got a little piece that made his tails, little piece of fabric. So I thought that was cute. So this was just a quick piece that I put together one evening after work. So Haunted Mansion. And then similarly, also on that theme, I had picked up the mini Sleeping Beauty's castle, which is also the Disneyland castle instead of the Disney World or other castles. We do have Sleeping Beauty here with her little crown. And another one, it's got all kinds of turrets and whatnot, and kind of that entrance. So another quick piece. These are sets that I had picked up over the course of a couple of months, and I was like, I should sit down and do some Legos. So I do have my little mini Sleeping Beauty's castle. Will it fit? No. Okay. One that was definitely a quick piece to put together was just this tiny little London double-decker bus. I don't know if the set has a name. I can look up the number if you would like, but I think if you just search London double-decker bus or something like that, you would get it. So just really cute. I like this. It's a movie advertisement for a horror movie, and it says the brick separator. I thought that was cute. So just a quick, super quick project. And then, oh, I should say, all of those are readily available sets from Lego. This last one is one of the limited edition sets that was released as a gift with purchase a number of months ago. So it's not something that you can buy from Lego at this point. My guess is you could find this on eBay or Etsy or something like this on the secondary market. And this is a tribute to Galileo Galilei. So we've got Galileo in his little workspace. We do have a little movable piece there so we can see the moon circulating around the sun, or the earth. We've got some vines in the background. So again, all of these were just quick pieces or sets that I was able to put together, each of them in the course of an evening. Fun to work on those. And then the other one I do not have with me because it's sitting in my office at work, and it's a quite large set. This is one that I actually took into my office. It's been probably at least 6 months. I took it in and I was like, I'll just work on it a little bit during my lunch break, and then I'll get it done and it'll encourage me to take lunch. That was part of it. It took me far longer than I expected, but I did finally get it done, and I thought it was perfect for my office because it is the bookstore. So let's see here, we can actually blow it up a little bit. So we do have Birch Books, and then next to it is kind of a little apartment. It's a big set. Each of the buildings has 3 different floors to it. These are the sets where you can actually remove each of the floors, and you can look inside and you can see all of the details. It's part of the oh, I'm forgetting. It's not the city set, but there's a whole series of buildings in this style, and you could actually connect to them all together. But I thought that the bookstore seemed appropriate to have in my office, so that one I was just very proud of. So that is the Legos that I have put together recently. I hadn't done it in a number of months, and it was really fun to just sit and get started on those. Looking forward to continue working on a couple of Lego projects in the future. And then the only other thing I had to talk about tonight is just a little bit of book talk. So if you remember, we do our mystery book pull every so often, and last time our prompt was to read an ebook. Any book that you wanted, it just needed to be an ebook. And so I wound up reading 2, but they are both novellas. So I feel like maybe together you could say I read a full book as opposed to a lengthy short story. But I read 2 books that I had picked up some time ago, and this was the perfect excuse. This is why I originally put that prompt in there. It was an excuse for me to actually read some of the ebooks that I have in my collection that I have been ignoring because I've been mostly focusing on reading physical books. So perfect opportunity for that. The first one I read was I Met a Traveler in an Antique Land by Connie Willis. Both of these are by Connie Willis. And so I read that one, which is about a kind of cynical guy in New York who's like, why do we need to keep things from the past? If they deserved to be something that was kept, they would be. We would find a way. We would think they were important and do this. And so he kind of gets taken to task by this, and he's out in New York and it's raining, and he winds up hopping into a used bookstore that turns out to be this kind of place that he can't understand because it just seems to go on and on and on and have so many books and be such a really odd collection of books. There seems to be no way that they are organized or what it is that they're particularly trying to buy. And so he's trying to figure out what this place is, what their purpose is, all of that kind of thing. And so, you know, it's about the importance of books, and it's about the importance of paying attention to things before they disappear and all of that. So I read that one. And then I also read Take a Look at the 5 and 10, also by Connie Willis. And this is one of her more sort of screwball romance, sci-fi stories, science stories. And this is about a woman who goes to her family holiday gathering, and she has, it's kind of a blended family. It's her former stepfather's other family from all of his other marriages, and they all get together. And so she had somebody who she calls grandma, but is not actually her grandma, who constantly talks about the Christmas that she worked at Woolworths and goes into like excessive detail about this. And everybody just finds this incredibly annoying. And then it turns out that this woman's cousin's current boyfriend is a researcher and thinks that this actually is very significant and it means something. And so they conduct a research study on this woman and get to know each other a little better, all of those kinds of things. So definitely kind of a holiday story. So both of those, as I mentioned, were by Connie Willis. They were novellas. They were, 60, maybe 70 pages each. And they were originally published by Subterranean Press, which is a small independent press that often does this. They work with a variety of primarily science fiction and fantasy authors to release limited editions of short stories or full-length novels, kind of collector's items versions of these books. And they tend, because they are collector's items, because they are nice, they tend to be a little more expensive. And I hadn't picked up these couple of books in the past. And then I saw them for available on Kindle, and I picked them up because I was like, I really do want to read these. So in the end, I didn't get the collector's edition, but I had the Kindle edition. I believe both are still available for these books. But I thought that was a great way to get just that kind of little bite of Connie Willis books from them. And I enjoyed both of them, and it was a great opportunity to kind of go through my pile of books on the Kindle and read them. So I know a couple of you were planning to join me in on the ebook reading this past time, so let me know what you wound up reading. I know a couple of people said, I read on my Kindle all the time. This is going to be easy. And I think for some people, maybe they don't read in that format as much. So I don't know. Let me know what your experience was, if you had anything that you really particularly appreciated or wouldn't have picked up if it hadn't been for that prompt. Let us know in the comments below. And then I am going to do a poll for a new one as well. So if you are joining us for the first time, this is a mystery book prompt that is a true mystery because it's been so long since I created these prompts for myself, even I don't remember what they were. And we are just pulling one and reading along together. So let's see here. All right. A fictional spy story. Okay. A fictional spy story. I do love fictional spy stories. I love real life spy stories as well. So, I mean, obviously you could go with James Bond. You could go with the Saint, who was sort of the precursor of James Bond, although not necessarily a spy. He's more of an adventurer. There are definitely all kinds of spy stories out there. Let me know what you think. I have a whole shelf. It's actually a dedicated shelf in my house that are spy stories, both fictional and non-fictional. So I'll have to take a look and see what I haven't read on that one. But I hope that somebody out there is interested in fictional spy stories as well. Let me know, and we can talk about it in the comments. I think what I am planning to do is, in terms of posting for a while, I was looking ahead. Obviously, we're heading into the holidays. That's going to mean possibly some Flossmas videos, not every day this year. It could mean whip parades and finish parades and end of the year stuff. And then frankly, after that is my busiest time of year. So it may be that I'm going to be posting only about once a month for a while. We've been running closer to 3 weeks anyway, so I may space out my videos a little bit more. And so while I'm doing that, I'm going to be pulling a book prompt every video rather than every other video, but I think there still seems to be plenty of time to get some books read in between. So anyway, just a quick video for you guys today. Like I said, if you want to enter for the giveaway, make sure you use the numerical number 1 in your comment. If you pick up a fictional spy story that you're going to read, let me know. If you have been putting together any Legos on your own, share that. And also, as always, let me know what stitching you've been doing as well, because I always want to hear about that too. So I will see you all in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk soon. Bye.